boil in the Middle East here.
Okay, we're at 37b, Rabbi Yochanan Amar. Rabbi Yochanan says, HaKofer Mammon Sheish Lav Eidim, someone who denies money. And about this denial, there's witnesses that know that he owes the money. Someone says, give me the money. He says, I don't know about what you're talking about. And there are witnesses that do know. So then you're going to be obligated. Because we just came up speaking that when there's witnesses and you deny something, it's not really a denial. It's just like saying words, because your witness is already here that are ready to make you liable. Because Rabbi Yochanan, no, you denied, you're still going to be liable. However, b'shtar, there's a document against you, and you come and deny that you owe any money. When the document says you do owe money, then you're going to be patur. So he makes a distinction between denying when there's witnesses and denying when there's a shtar. Amar Papa, my time at Rabbi Yochanan, what's the reason of Rabbi Yochanan that he makes this distinction between a document and witnesses? Eidim abidi demaisi, shtar hamana. Sounds like witnesses can come today, gone tomorrow. A shtar is always here. A document's always here. It's more solid proof. Amalei Rav Huna, Breder Yeshua, Rav Papa, says Rav Huna, the son of Rav Yeshua, Rav Papa, shtar nami abidi demirchas. What do you mean? A document also, you can lose a document. Just like witnesses can be gone tomorrow, a document can also be gone tomorrow. That's right. So what's the distinction? Ella Amar of Huda Breder Yeshua, Hainu Tam Rabbi Yochanan Mishom, Davishtar Shibud Karkos. When a person writes a loan with a document, so right away there's an automatic lien on the property. Your property has a lien. So therefore, if you can't pay with your movables, then you have to go to the real estate. So a document really represents more than just Yomi money. It contains in it a lien on land. Now, if you deny owing money that's regarding land, we don't make a shvu on land. There's no oaths by land. And we'll see more about it. We don't make a shvua on things that are land related. It's going to be a pasuk. It's going to say that you don't make a shvu on land. So since a shtar has within it a lien on land, if you deny money, when there's a shtar there, you're in essence denying that there is a lien on the land, and that's in essence going to, we're not going to obligate you to bring a korban on denial of land, and that's why he said that if there's a shtar here, your denial is not going to be valid in terms of being liable for violating this oath. It could be you get lashes. It could be just you still committed something wrong by lying falsely, but not for the sacrifice. Okay, speaking of which, Itmar, Mashbia Ede Karka, someone who makes a shvuah or denies really about land, are you liable to sacrifice? That's actually two opinions. Pligi bar Rabbi Yochanan, like we just said, Rabbi Eliezer, and Rabbi Eliezer. It's a machlokas. Chadamar chayiv, chadamar pater. One says even if you deny about land, you're still going to be liable, and one says you're going to be exempt. Okay. This time, Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yochanan, we just said a second ago, he's the one you can conclude that holds that you're obviously going to be exempt for a case where witnesses are denying a claim about land, because he just told us that if there is a shtar, there's a document on the case, and you deny it, then you're going to be exempt, because we cannot obligate you in a case of real estate, when you deny real estate. So you can conclude that Rabbi Yochanan is one who holds that you're exempt. Okay. Rav Huna, Breder Rav Shua at this time. Like we just explained from Rav Huna, the son of Rabbi Yeshua, he's the one that explained that the reason why you're exempt, if there's a document here saying that you're liable, is because a document has a lien on the land, and therefore, in essence, you're denying something that's regarding real estate, and therefore we're not going to obligate you to sacrifice. So according to Rav Huna, the son of Rabbi Yeshua's explanation of Rabbi Yochanan, you can conclude that Rabbi Yochanan is of the opinion that you're exempt the sacrifice when you denied testimony about things when you lied about things regarding land. Okay. Rabbi Yirmiyah, Rabbi Abo say that Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Elazar are actually arguing beplukta to Rabbi Eliezer v'Rabbanan Kniflagi. This machlokus Amoraim seems like it's actually an earlier machlokus of Tanaim. So let's see what they hold, and let's see if it matches up. The Tanan, the Mishnah says, Hagozel Sadin Echavera. Someone steals a field from their friend. And we mentioned this last time. There's two opinions. Can you steal land or not? These two opinions are also reflected over here. You steal a land from your friend, and then Vishatva Nahar, and then a tsunami comes, wipes it out. A storm comes and wipes away the land, ruins the whole thing. Are you liable or not? So the first opinion says you're chayiv. Chayiv lahamid lo sada. Yes, you're obligated to have to give him a new field. He had a whole nice apple orchard and it got destroyed. So you got to go and get him a new one. That's divrei Rabbi Eliezer. Why? Because he holds that karka land could be stolen, and therefore you consider like he really stole it, and therefore if it got washed away, then you have to go pay him back. Chachamim Omrim, they say, Omer lo, you can tell the guy, Harei shel chalafanecha, here's your property, go take it. Meaning you never stole it, because karka ain't an exelis. You can't steal karka. You can't steal land. Yeah, okay. And on that Mishnah, the Gemara asks, what is their machlokas? Eliezer darish ribui umiyute, v'Rabbanan darshi klali uprati. So there the Gemara says that they argue, their argument is actually how to expound the Torah. Do you do it in a ribui umiyut format, or do you do it in a klal uprat format? Eliezer darish ribui umiyute means, right, it's always going to be a general statement followed by a specific statement, concluding with a general statement. And the question is, with that first general statement, was that actually including something? Or was it just vague? And then the specific statement is going to explain, define what the general statement was talking about. So either it includes everything, followed by a specific statement, which is limiting it to only certain things, or not that it includes everything, it's just vague, and the specific statement helps clarify it. So let's see in our case. It says in Vayikra, someone denies something with his fellow. Denies. It sounds like any claim you deny. Riba. Something you owe me X and you deny. Deny anything. Then it says the pikadon, whether it's a pikadon, it's someone deposits an object with you, or it's a case where you gave somebody money, like a loan. So it sounds like only if you deny those cases, you'll be liable. Miyate, that's a limitation. Only those specific cases, a loan or a deposit. Then it says, Omi kol asher yishava. In any case that you make a shvuah, sounds like any case that you deny someone owes you something and you're found to be a liar, you'll be liable. So you have two general statements at the bookends: deny anything, any kind of shvuah that you make that you end up being a liar about, and in the middle we have these two details: a deposit and a loan. So how do you understand that? So says the Gemara, Chazer v'riba, it goes back and expounds it. Riba umiyet v'riba, riba hakol. When you have this format of general, specific, general, it includes everything, limits it, and then includes more. So, mayi riba, what did you originally include? Riba kol mili. I included everything. Whatever you deny, you're going to be liable for. Well, mayi miyet, what did you come to limit? Well, you said only things that are a deposit or a loan. Those are all money. Miyet shtaros. You came to exclude shtaros. You came to exclude the person denies something with a shtar, with his loan document. Why? Because money that you gave over for a loan or money that you gave over a deposit, in itself is money. A shtar, it's not itself money. It represents money. A check is not itself money. It's a piece of paper. It's worth a cent. But what you wrote on the check, what it represents, can be millions of dollars. So when the Torah says anything you deny, it would include everything. But then it specified two things that are in itself money: a deposit or money you gave to somebody for a loan. That is itself money, as opposed to a shtar. A shtar itself is not money. It represents money. So therefore, any denial regarding a shtar is not going to be liable. Liable these oaths that we're talking about. That's the first opinion. V'Rabbanan darshi klali prate. They learn it differently, right? General statement is just vague, according to this opinion. Klal means general. We don't know what it's talking about. Uprati specified. It's like a headline. We don't know what it was talking about. Prati specifies it. So let's see. So you deny something regarding your friend. Not that it includes every kind of denial. It just remains vague. That's all it's saying. Klal. Now let's explain. Let's define what that means. It's specifically taught when it said deny anything. It means to say you're denying a deposit or you're denying a loan. Pikadon o sheshumas yad o begezel, or anything regarding robbery, prat. So it specifies those three cases: deposit, money, and robbery. So only those three are things that when you deny, you're going to be liable. But then it says o mikol asher yishava. Then it says anything you're going to swear about and then found to be false, found to be a false testimony, so that a false oath, you'll be liable. So what is that? That's only coming to include things that are similar to what the Torah specified. So, chazer v'klal. So what do you have? It goes back and says a general statement. Klal upratu klal, general, specific, general. So what's the rule? Iyatadan ella ke'ena prat. Right? I don't know, maybe a bad example, but tell your kids that you have to eat dinner now. So what does dinner mean? So you tell them you're gonna have to have chicken, vegetables, and chicken, vegetables, and, chicken, carrots, and cucumbers. So and then you tell them you better eat dinner. So you're only including healthy foods, growing foods, not including candy and ice cream, right? Mm-hmm. So just as I said again afterwards, you better eat dinner. Ooh, now dinner means candy and ice cream? No, it's whatever I specified for you. So go back to what I specified: chicken, cucumbers. Those all have in common. They're all growing foods or whatever. So to here, it's a general thing. We don't know what it means. The Torah specifies it means three things: loan, deposit, robbery. When it repeats it again, it has to be including something, but which is similar to the way whatever its definition is. So ela ke'ein haprat. So what's that? Ma haprat mefurash. Just like the prat is explicit. Is explicit. What is it? It's davar hametaltel. It's a movable item. It's a movable. If a deposit is movable, or a loan. A loan is also gufo mama. A loan itself is money. You give someone $100. So either the details were either movables, a deposit, a stolen item. Those are all movables. Or a loan, it itself is money. So now, af kol davar hametaltel, anything which is a movable item. Or the gufo moment, it itself is money. So what does that come in to exclude? Yatsu, we're excluding karkos. Land itself might be money, but it's not movable. She'ein metaltel, you can't move land. Yatsu avadim, coming to exclude servants. Shehukshu the karkos. They're always the Torah always juxtaposes them to land, and therefore they're also excluded. So, yeah. Yatsu shtaros, we exclude documents. Why? A document you can move, but ein gufa mammon, it itself doesn't have so much monetary value. It represents monetary value. So that's how they're going to learn. So now, our two opinions. If you deny something regarding land, the one that says you're obligated, which we said was Rabbi Lazar, goes like Rabbi Eliezer. He said like the first opinion over here. Uman de pater, and the one that says you're exempt, Rabbi Yochanan, he goes like the Rabbanon. The Rabbanon who say that you cannot, that they expounded in a klal pratu klal, that you're excluding lands and documents. So really our two opinions in the Amarayim, if you deny something regarding land, is really representative in two opinions regarding the Tanaim, which argue about how to expound this section of the Torah that says general, specific, and general statements. So that's what we think right now. Amarle lo. Man de mechayev, the one that says you're obligated, that even when you deny something regarding land, you're still going to be obligated, which was the opinion of Rabbi Elazar. He man de mechayev ki Rabbi Eliezer. Okay, he'll hold like Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer doesn't have this limitation that land is excluded. Obviously, if you're obligated for denying things regarding land, you're going to go like Rabbi Eliezer. That's fine. So Rabbi Lazar and Rabbi Eliezer go together. The question is the one that exempts lying about lying in a case where there is involving real estate. Uman de Potter. So does he necessarily have to go like Rabbi Yochanan, or can he also go like Rabbi Eliezer? Uman de Potter. He'll tell you. Rabbi Yochanan will tell you. Amar Lach. V'ha afilu Rabbi Eliezer mode. Even Rabbi Eliezer, who in general says that you can make a shvuah, you can make an oath about land, no problem. And therefore, if you deny about land, you should be obligated. But he'll agree when I deny, when I testify falsely, or I make an oath denying something regarding land, even he'll agree that I'm going to be exempt. Why? Afilu Rabbi Eliezer mode the Rachmana Amar Mikol Velo Hakol. Because it says in the Torah that in the case that you're obligated this oath, so it says there, the verse says, O mikol asher yishava alav l'sheker. The Torah says from anything, from mikol, anything that you're going to swear falsely about. And therefore you have to bring a fifth, and you have to bring a guilt offering. So it says the word mikol. Sounds like mikol below hakol. It sounds like there's certain cases which are excluded. You have to go and, if you deny falsely, you have to bring a fifth and a guilt offering, only mikol, from some of the things that you denied, but not from all of the things that you denied. What are some of the things? So some of the things is going to be that it's going to be things that are not going to be land related. So even though Rabbi Eliezer holds that you're liable for an oath on land in general, but since in this case the Torah sounds like it excluded a certain case, mikol below hakol. What did it exclude? It excluded things that were land related. Those, if you deny falsely, you're not going to be liable to bring a sacrifice and bring a fifth, and your guilt offering and bring a fifth. So basically, after all dust settles, we have two Amoraim that talk about if you deny something regarding land and you're found to be a liar, are you liable or not? That's two opinions, Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Lazar. We thought at first they represent two general opinions, and you can make any oaths regarding land. That we're saying even the one who holds that you're obligated when you make an oath on land will still agree here that if you make a false oath, that you're not going to be liable, your sacrifice and your fifth, because the Torah says mikol, sounds like it's excluding something. Well, if it's excluding cases of land. Okay. Deep breath and continue. Amar of Papa, yeah. Amar of Papa, Mishmei de Rava, in the name of Rava, Masisa Nami Deka Dekatani. Now we're going to bring just a textual proof. We're going to say that our Mishnah seems to say this also. What's the case? Where do you see in our Mishnah anything related to this? That if you deny something regarding land, you're going to be exempt, not liable. It says, "Genaftesh." You tell a guy, "You stole my ox." Who Omer look afti? No, I didn't. And you tell him, "Mashbiachani," make a shvuah that you did not steal my ox. And he says, "Amar amen." He says, "Amen." So he says, "Chayev." Your Mishnah says you're liable. So the Gemara is saying, why did the Mishnah choose the case of a ox? Why not the case of an eved? Ve'ilu ganaftes avdi lo katani. Now, an eved is always compared to land. So the fact that it omits an eved would tell you that by servants and therefore by land, you're not going to be liable if you lie about those cases. My time, alav mishum the eved is kishakarkos is not because an eved is juxtaposed to karka, to land, and by land, ein may be in carbon al kafir shibud karkos. You don't bring a sacrifice when you deny things regarding land. So you owe me, whatever it is. Didn't you buy that $1 million house from me? I don't know who you are. Okay, make an oath. You make an oath, and you're found to be a liar. You clearly bought the house from last week. So hold on, that you're not necessarily going to be liable for a sacrifice. That's about real estate. So from the fact that the Mishnah didn't choose a case of an eved, and an eved is always compared to land, we see it sounds like the Mishnah's holding that you don't bring a sacrifice regarding denial of liens on land itself. So now we're going to say, but from the end of the Mishnah, you're going to see the opposite. And basically, therefore, you cannot infer from the Mishnah one way or another. If you have a machlokas amorayim, it'd be very valuable to find a Tanaic source that supports or rejects them, because they can't go against an earlier source. So Amar of Papi said Mishpei Rava in the name of Rava. Ema Sefer, look at the end of our Mishnah. Zeh HaKlal, the last line. This is the general rule. Kol HaMeshalim Al Pi'as, any case where you would have walked in and say, I did X, Y, and Z, and you would be liable, for that oath, you'd be liable also. Chayiv. V'she'ena Meshalim Al Pi'atzmo, but if you walk and you say, I'm liable for stealing, there you're not liable for the penalty, because you can't indict yourself for a penalty. So then you're going to be exempt. So it says the Gemara, what's Zeh HaKlal? Whenever you have this at the end of the whole Mishnah, this is the rule. It's coming to include something. So Klal is always including something. So what's Zeh HaKlal Asuyimai? What's that last line coming? We just listed you a bunch of cases of penalty that you're exempt. And the Mishnah ends off, this is the general rule. What are you coming to include? What else is there? Are we not talking about a case where you're coming to include that someone says you stole my eved? Maybe that's what's coming to include. It's coming to include a case, you stole my servant, that you'll be liable in that case. Well, if you'll be liable in that case, then you'll be liable also for denying land. So from the beginning of the Mishnah, you want to infer that you'd be exempt. From the end of the Mishnah, you want to infer that you're going to be liable for denial of land. So what's the conclusion? Elameha, from our Mishnah, Leika Lamashma Mina. You cannot conclude from inference one way or another if our Mishnah includes a case of someone denying land, if you'd be liable to sacrifice or not. Okay, switching a little bit. A little bit of, there's ever been a nitty-gritty piece of Gemara? This is going to be it. Yeah? So not hard, just nitty-gritty. So the case in the Mishnah kept giving cases of, you have wheat, barley, and spelt in my hands. And you responded, no, I don't. You're liable one. And if you respond, I don't have your wheat, barley, and spelt, you're liable for each and every one. Now, what about a case where a bunch of people claimed against you that you have their stuff? And then you said, I don't have anybody's stuff. You're also liable one. But then the Mishnah said a case where what? Where he says, below lecha, I'm not liable to you or to you or to you. What happens in that case? So that wasn't so simple. That the Mishnah says, you're liable. Rabbi Eliezer says, you have to say the word Shavuot at the end. I'm not liable to any of you. A Shavuot. Then you're liable for each one. And Rabbi Shimon says, no. You have to tell each person, a Shavuot to you, a Shavuot to you, and a Shavuot to you. And only then are you liable. Okay. So on that piece of the Mishnah, the Gemara says, Taner Rabbanim, a cryptic statement. Klal eino chayv ala achas. If you deny in a general way, we're going to specify that generalization. If you deny in a general way, then you're only liable one. If you're prat, if you deny in a specific way, then chayav al kol achas v'achas. Divrei Reb Meir. That's according to Reb Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says the following: Omer Shavuot. You tell a bunch of people are claiming money against you, and you tell them Shavuot. Lo lecha, lo lecha, lo lecha. Chayav al kol achas v'achas. You're liable for each and every one. Shavuot to you, I don't have your money. I don't have your money. Shavuot to you, I don't have your money. Shavuot to you, I don't have your money. And you're found to be a liar, that you have his money and his money and his money. You're liable for each and every person that you made a false oath about. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, lo lecha, v'lo lecha, v'lo lecha, shvuah. And then you say the word shvuah at the end. Chayiv al kol achas v'achas. You're also liable, if you're found to be a liar, you're liable for each and every person that you made that shvuah about. Rabbi Shimon Omer, ad sheyomer shvuah kol achas v'achas. Until you tell each person, a shvuah to you, a shvuah to you, a shvuah to you, then when you're found to be a liar, you'll be liar. Okay. So now, back to the beginning of this brisa. Rabbi Meir said a general statement, that for a general statement, you're liable one, and for a specific denial, you're liable each and every one. What did that mean? What was the case? What does general mean, and what does specific mean? Define your terms. So, Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel, I'll define his terms for him. Klal shel Reb Meir, the klal of Reb Meir, what he views as a general statement, according to Rabbi Yehuda, is going to be a specific statement. So klal shel Reb Meir is a prato shel Rabbi Yehuda. However, klal shel Rabbi Yehuda's general statement is going to be Prato Shel Rav Meir. It's going to be Rav Meir holds as a specific statement. Okay? The Rabbi Yochanan says, Hakol Modim, everyone agrees, be v'lo lecha shehu prat. Lo nachlechu ella below lecha. Okay, so so imagine you have 5 people claiming money against you. You owe me money, you owe me money, and he says you owe me money, he says you owe me money. They're all telling Reuben that Reuben owes them money. He's in a lot of debt. Every bank tells him you owe me money. So now Reuben starts denying one by one. Now there's either denying with a vav or without a vav. So you could say, I don't owe you. That's one way to say it. Or I don't owe you, and you, and you, and you. So now, Rabbi Yochanan says, everyone agrees that the lo lecha, the and, shehu prat. That we view as you're denying each person specifically. I don't owe you money, and you. That's fine. Ella below lecha, when it says just lo lecha, I don't know you. Do you view that as one separate statement or one general statement? That's a machlokes. Rabbi Meir Omer Prat. Just saying, at the end you still said you. That's a specific denial to each and every person. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Klal. That's still a general statement until you put in the vav. Okay, so we now know what the specific statement of Rabbi Meir is, which is a general statement for Rabbi Yehuda. If you don't have the vav, you don't have the and. Okay, so says the Gemara, "Ezuhu Kol Shel Meir." According to Reb Meir, what's a general statement? Says the Gemara, "Shvua she'ein lachem biyadi." You make a shvua, I have nothing of all of you in my hand. That'll for sure be a general statement. Okay, but at the end of the day, they argue about lo lecha without the vav. Is that considered specific or is that considered general? So, what do they argue about? Shmuel daig mi braysa, Rabbi Yochanan daig mi masnisim. Shmuel, So Shmuel and Rabbi Yochanan disagree about what Reb Meir and Rabbi Yehuda disagree about. So, sorry, I didn't speak it out. According to Shmuel, because the Gemara didn't speak it out, Rashi fills it in. Shmuel holds that when Rav Meir, that v'lo lecha, according to Rav Meir, is a general statement, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, is a specific statement. V'lo lecha. According to Shmuel, if you have the vav, according to Rav Meir, that's considered general. According to Rabbi Yehuda, that's considered specific. According to Rabbi Yochanan, if you say v'lo lecha, according to everybody, it's a general statement. The machlokas only is by lo lecha, without the vav. So as nitty gritty as it gets, right? So what do they argue about Shmuel and Rabbi Yochanan? That basically when you add the vav, according to Shmuel, that's a dispute. Is that considered general or specific? And according to Rabbi Yochanan, everyone holds that's considered general with a vav. The dispute is when you don't have the vav. So what do those two opinions argue about? So Shmuel daik mi braysa. Shmuel learns it from a braysa, and Rabbi Yochanan daik mi masnisim, and he expounds it. He learns it from a certain implication of our Mishnah. So one by one, Shmuel daik mi braysa midikam Rabbi Yehuda v'lo lecha prata have. It says in the braysa that Rabbi Yehuda says v'lo lecha is considered a specific statement. Rabbi Yehuda is following Rav Meir. So if Rabbi Yehuda pipes up and Rav Meir said something, don't know what he said. Rabbi Yehuda pipes up and says, you should know v'lo with the vav, v'lo lecha is considered a specific statement. What does that show you? Nichlal, that what he heard from Rav Meir was that it was a general statement, to which he pipes up and says, no, it's a specific statement. So, v'lo lecha prata have, nichlal the shamil Rav Meir, damar klal have. Obviously, if Rav Meir said something, we don't know what he said. That's not recorded. But we have that immediately following Rav Meir, Rabbi Yehuda jumps up and says, v'lo lecha specific. Obviously, you can infer that Rav Meir held v'lo lecha is a general statement. Yeah. The Amar Le, Rabbi Yehuda, no, it's prata, and I hold no, it's a specific statement. Okay. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, that travayu le Rav Meir prata have, that according to Rav Meir, Rabbi Yochanan saying Rabbi Yochanan saying travailer of Meir are going to be travailer of Meir pratahave, that both of them are going to be specific for Rav Meir. The Amr le Rabbi Yehuda, and all Rabbi Yehuda is saying is below lecha modina lach, below lecha pagina lach. All Rabbi Yehuda is saying is no. When it comes to below lecha, I'll agree to you. When it comes to lo lecha without the vav, I'm going to argue on you. Okay, so Shmuel says that. Second. Oh yeah, fine. So the Gemara is going to say later where Rabbi Yochanan knows this. Okay, fine. Rabbi Yochanan says Shavayler of Meir Pratave. They're both. He's going to consider both of them to be specific statements. The Amr le Rabbi Yehuda, no. Bivalo lecha modina. With the vav, I agree to you. But lo lecha, I argue on you. Lo lecha is pagina lach. That's for sure going to be considered more general. So says Shmuel, if that's true, if it's true that Rabbi Yehuda heard from Rav Meir that both with the vav and without the vav are specific statements, so then ad odile oduye lifagaleha ifluge. So Shmuel is saying that that when Rabbi Yehuda argues under Rav Meir, he should have given a case where they argue, not where they agree. So when Rabbi Yehuda pipes up, he gives a case of 1 second. Yeah, why did Rabbi Yehuda say, I agree with you by that case, here I argue? Instead of saying what you agree upon, just say what you disagree upon, and therefore we'll know. Right. There's no reason for Rabbi Yehuda to mention that he agrees by below lecha. Rav Meir says something. All Rabbi Yehuda should have said is the case that he disagrees upon is lo lecha. So that's why Shmuel says that's not a good proof. Because if Rabbi Yehuda wanted to argue, he should have only specified what he argued about. So therefore, I don't think you're right that Rabbi Yehuda heard from Rav Meir that both vilo lecha and lo lecha are specific cases, because if that would be true, then he'd have no reason to say, oh yeah, that I agree with you, but this I disagree with you about. Just mention the case that you disagree about. Okay, so that's all in the world of Shmuel and the Brisa. Rabbi Yochanan, though, he's dayik mi masnisa. He's going to expound from our Mishnah. What do you see in our Mishnah? Midikamer Rav Meir shvuosh ein lechem biyadi. It says in our Mishnah that Rav Meir says, a shvuosh ein lechem biyadi. I have nothing of your claimants in my hand. Well, that's klala. That's going to be general. That's the case of a general statement, implying what would be a case of a specific statement. Have mechlala de velo lecha pratave. That vilo lecha would be specific. How do I know that? Well, you're giving me an example of a general statement, and you chose to say the most general statement. I don't have anything of yours in my possession. That's the most general way to deny something. If you wanted to teach me that vilo lecha is also general, the Mishnah should have taught that case. That would be a big novelty, that when you say vilo lecha, vilo lecha, vilo lecha, that's still considered a general denial, would be a tremendous novelty. And yet the Mishnah didn't do that. If you really held that vilo lecha is a general statement, a general denial, if you have a choice to teach me what's considered a general denial of an oath when you have many people claiming against you, you could say, I don't have any of your things in my possession. Or you could say, and that's also considered general. You would obviously teach the second case, because that would include the first case. If below lecha, not to you and not to you, is considered a general denial, for sure, I have nothing of yours in my possession is for sure a general denial. And yet the Mishnah didn't do that. That must be that below lecha is not a general denial, rather it's a specific denial. That's how Rabbi Yochanan learns. How is Shmuel going to respond to that? That sounds like a very good proof. The Shmuel Amar, no. Kol ha'omer v'lo lecha. It just, when you say v'lo lecha, it's ke'omer shvua she'en lechem biyadi dami. It's just, when you say v'lo lecha, it's just another way of saying shvua she'en lechem biyadi dami. It's another way of saying that I don't have anything of yours in my possession. So, so it sounds like, it's a funny thing, it sounds like even though the Mishnah shows a way of general denial, Shmuel apparently understood that since v'lo lecha is the same thing, so, yeah, I know, it's funny. Shmuel says that whenever you say v'lo lecha, it's like saying, I don't have anything of yours in my possession. But the Mishnah should have still taught that, to teach you that. It still would have been a novelty if you taught that in the Mishnah. So why did the Mishnah teach that case? Unless Shmuel means that when the Mishnah says, I have nothing of yours in my possession, it's just a general way of denying things. But of course, v'lo lecha is included in that. Meaning, I'm not sure. Is Shmuel saying that when the Mishnah says, I have nothing of yours in my possession, that's just very vague, and of course, v'lo lecha is included in that? That would make sense, I guess. Or he's saying that v'lo lecha in his world is the same as saying, I have nothing of yours in my possession, and therefore the Mishnah didn't have to speak it out. To which I'm asking, well, you should still speak it out. It would teach you that novelty. Okay, I'm not sure exactly. I don't know. Did they explain it all?
There's a summary and then there's a chart.
Oh, no. Don't do that. Yeah. Okay. So, Shmuel, the words of Shmuel mean that whenever you say v'lo lecha, it's as if you said, Shavua she'en lecha biyadi. It's as if you're saying, I have nothing of yours in my possession. I'm just asking, so why didn't the Mishnah say that? That would have been a novelty, that they mean the same thing. So the question sounds like it's going to come back and still ask on Shmuel. So the Mishnah should, if you have two opportunities, what you should teach that. Just teach exactly that novelty. So maybe Shmuel hold that logically they mamish mean the same thing, and there's no difference in what it teaches. Or the Mishnah was just being very general. It's a general denial. What is general denial? Shmuel saying, this is an example of a general denial. I don't know. Fine. Now, a bunch of questions. Tanat, lo lecha, v'lo lecha, and yet you're chayv each and every one. So it says vav with a vav, and you're liable. Says the Gemara. Hani lo lecha, take out the vav. Tashma, a brisa. Tainli pikadon, give me my deposit and my loan and my lost object and my stolen object with a vav. Give me this and this and this, and yet you're liable each and every one. Yeah, take out the vav. Tani shumas yad gezel aveda. Yeah, take out the vav. Third, tainli chitin viseorin vikusman. Give me wheat and barley and spelt. And if you deny each and every one of them, you're found to be a liar, you're going to be liable for each and every one of them. Says a vav. No, take out the vav. Tani seorin kusman. So says the Gemara, it's getting a little ridiculous over here. Our Mishnah messed up so many times. One time you want to tell me to take out the vav. Okay. No, the Mishnah missed the vav. Fine. But 3 times over it missed the vav. Kol haki shabish, Tani va'azil. That many times it kept making the same mistake over and over again. That's unlikely. So we have 3 proofs that when you have a vav and you deny it, you're liable for each and every one. It's a specific statement, not a general statement. So Ella Hamani Rebbe, you're right. The Mishnah's Rebbe. The Amar Rebbe has a special his own opinion that he says Loshna Kizayis, Veloshna Kizayis, Vikizayis, Pratahave. Rebbe says that in general, it doesn't matter if you say with a vav or without a vav, it's always considered specific. Our dispute is the vav considered general or specific? Rebbe's his own opinion. With a vav or without a vav is considered specific, and therefore you can't bring the Mishnah as a proof to one of our opinions because we both don't go like Rebbe. We're arguing about is the specific or not. So yeah, okay. Tashma mididei. So learn from Rav Meir himself. What did Rav Meir himself? You're all fighting about what Rav Meir said. Why don't you see what he himself said? Rav Meir Omer. But you have it's like 2 people arguing about what the third person said, and the third person's right there. So just ask him. So Rav Meir Omer afilu chita visaora vikay semes with a vav and wheat and barley and spelt, and yet then the guy denies that he has that in his possession, and then he's found to be a liar. Chayav al kol achas v'achas, liable for each and every one. So says the Gemara, no, it's not ironclad proof. Tani chita seora kosemes. Yeah, take out the vav. Well, if that's true, what's afilu? Rameir said even wheat, barley, and what's afilu? Amravacha breder of ika afilu chita bichlal chitin, v'seora bichlal seorin, v'kosemes bichlal kosman. That chita is in the singular, seora is in the singular, but if someone says you owe, I guess, multiple wheats, barleys, and spelts, and you say it in a singular, that's still going to be considered a denial. It's not considered a separate thing. Wow, time is working against us. I don't know how this happens. Okay, so fine. Okay, it says tain li chitin v'seorin. Someone says, give me wheat and give me barley. So now, Rabbi Yochanan, we had this earlier. Rabbi Yochanan is also complicated. There's no easy way out here. Rabbi Yochanan has a general statement. A pruta from all of them combines. General statement. A pruta from all of them combines. Ligi bar Rav Acha v'Ravina, they argue, Rav Acha they argue, what did he mean? Now, but basically the guy says, you owe me, give me back my wheat, my barley, and my spelt. And you tell him, and you say back, I don't have anything. I don't have your wheat, barley, and spelt. When you say, I don't have anything of yours, and then you say, I don't have your wheat, barley, and spelt, was that 4 shvuas? I have nothing of yours? That's 1. I don't have your wheat, that's 2. Barley, 3. Spelt, that's 4. If that would be true, so then when Rabbi Yochanan says a pruta combines, so it means that it combines for the first thing, for the first shvua. I have nothing of yours in my possession. So nothing, as long as you equal into a pruta, you'll be liable for that oath. But of course, if you say, I don't have your wheat, barley, and spelt, each wheat needs to have a pruta's worth, each spelt, and each one needs to have a pruta's worth. So if you understand the Mishnah, that when it says, I have nothing of your possession, I don't have your wheat, barley, and spelt, that it's 4 shvuas, then when Rabbi Yochanan says they combine to a pruta, it's going on the first out of the 4. I have nothing of yours in my possession. That's where you can, even if you have a little bit of each one, it can combine to violate the first shvua. These 3, you always need a pruta for each and every one. But the other opinion is going to say that, no, when you say, I have nothing of yours in my possession, I don't have your wheat, barley, and spelt. That's not 4 shvuas. That's 3 shvuas. I have nothing in my possession. I have nothing of yours in my possession is just a headline to which then he's specifying, I don't have your wheat, barley, and spelt. If that's true, so then Rabbi Yochanan would not be going on that case. It would just be going on the case where all you said was, I have nothing of yours in my possession. That's where a pruta from all of them combines.
There's enough.
We're out of time. Yeah, I need more time.
This is so long.